afternoon, good evening. Thank you for being here with Isabel and I today. This is another episode of ThymeWeaver and Friends, when I talk with some creative souls who are doing wonderful work, and I can share it with you all while you are knitting or spinning or just washing the dishes or whatever while you listen to us. So today we have a very special guest who is not necessarily from the fiber world, although maybe she has some fiber connections that she can tell us about. But she is a beautiful stone and jewelry designer and someone who I very much appreciate her work. And I'm so excited to be here with her today. So welcome, Isabel, and thank you for coming on this little channel of mine.
Hi, Nicole. Thank
Hi.
you for having me. I'm very, very happy to be here with you and to all of the people that are watching us.
Yes, I really wanted to be able to share your work and everything that you do. So you are the artist behind Goxi Garden, right? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't ever think I've heard it.
Yes.
Goxi Garden.
Goxi's Garden.
Goxi's Garden. Yes, and she creates the most beautiful semi-precious stone jewelry, like what I'm wearing today. I have many pieces to talk about later. But yes, I absolutely love her work. And honestly, I would say that your work is what inspired me to start making my semi-precious stone stitch markers for knitting. Because I just saw how beautiful everything you made was, and I was like, oh, I need something like this to enjoy while I'm knitting too. So excited. All right, so let's start off, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you live. So like where you are geographically, what the climate is like, what everything there might be like.
Okay, so I live in Portugal, in the west coast of Portugal. I'm lucky to live in the countryside. Our place is in the countryside, but we are a few minutes from the beach, so we have the best of two worlds. We have the country we are surrounded by nature, trees. We have a vegetable garden. We live with our 10 dogs now, and we are every time we want to go to the beach. It's 5 minutes from our place, so it's a real privilege.
Wow,
And the climate is very good because we have hot days in summer, not very hot, and cold days in the winter, but not very cold. So it's the perfect weather, I think.
That's wonderful. And you have your garden and all of your dogs, and it's beautiful. We were talking before we started recording about how I met Isabel, like years ago, because I had posted a picture of, I think it was the periwinkle flower at the Vinca Mayor, right? And I put the hashtag of plant identification, and Isabel wrote to me and she's like, oh, that's Vinca. And so we just started talking and connecting, and I loved her work. And yes, so plants are also really important, not only the stones and the minerals, but your connection with the plants as well.
Yes, indeed. Since I was a small child, I live in the countryside for about 70 years. And I always lived in cities. But I think I knew I was going to be in the countryside sooner or later, because well, it's a very strong connection.
Wonderful. And what about the stones? So when did you start like getting interested in all of these magical, beautiful stones? And what was your journey with that, with making jewelry?
Well, me and my companion Miguel started to work with copper when
Mm-hmm.
we met. He had some old tools from his parents, and
Enamel, yeah.
enamel, and we started to do some experiences, and it was real fun. So we did it for about 1 year, and then we started to work with silver. It was like a progress in our work, so we started to explore the silver work. And Miguel is very passionate about geology and stones and crystals and mineralogy and all the mineral world.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I guess I started to learn about stones with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then I heard about the vibrational and energetical characteristics of crystals, and
Mm-hmm.
I decided to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned about crystal healing,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was very interesting to make jewels that would work with us while we were carrying them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we started, and we have been doing that for about 8 or 9 years, perhaps.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And so you were talking also before about like the different properties that each of the stones have. And this is a whole new world for me. I think for some years I've been investigating plants and all of the properties of the different things in the herbal world. And stones just call out to me. But I don't know about, I guess the same thing happens with plants too. Like maybe one plant will be just like appearing in many places, so then I will investigate. Um,
Mhm.
but but yeah, so stones, you were telling me a little bit. I can show you here. I don't know if you can see very well in the camera. Maybe I'll put in some pictures as well. So this is an aquamarine, which I absolutely fell in love with, and Isabel designed and with Miguel and made this beautiful piece. And so you were telling me a little bit about the properties of the stone. So maybe you could share a little bit here as well.
Yes, well, about aquamarine, the stone that you are wearing, it's a stone that is connected with the throat chakra,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's all about the communication
Mm-hmm.
and about our expression too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have we might talk well, but we have some difficult about our expression, to
Mm-hmm.
express ourselves, to express our truth, our true self.
Mm-hmm.
And aquamarine it helps us doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's
There
beautiful.
are others, but and aquamarine has a very smooth energy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very calm too. It's very loving. It's very
Yeah. I felt like this it was also very interesting because the shawl that I'm wearing is, I don't know if you can, I can take it off. It's quite warm.
it's
But
beautiful.
this shawl, I finished it like the day after I received my stone, and really it is like aquamarine color on one side and silver on the other. And I just thought it was really
Beautiful.
interesting. So I must have been like thinking about these colors and thinking about, yeah, so
And the energetical world is, it's all about this. It's the connections exist. We just don't see them with
mm-hmm,
our eyes, but
yeah,
we feel them. We know them.
exactly, exactly.
We,
So
and
it's very special.
it's it, it's magical, but it's real.
Exactly. I feel like there's so many people who will say, "Oh, like stones and crystals, this is just woo woo. This is not real." But it's something it's a physical vibration, you know? Like so there must be something to it. I don't know. I don't know. But
Yes, like the plants, like everything in nature.
mhm.
You felt connected with plants, and
Mhm.
then you felt connected with minerals. Well, minerals are something from nature too. It's the
Exactly.
mineral kingdom. So it's natural. It's our biology. It's natural for humans to feel connected and to feel the need to embrace these energies because we are that.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we were also talking about these which are opals, right? And I think you said that these are Australian opals.
Australian, yes, from Australia.
Wow. So you have stones from all over the world, right?
Uh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. We choose the stones for the pieces that we do. We usually do pieces to wear in the neck and
Mhm.
in the ears and in the fingers.
Mhm.
So we choose them, and we I think about the energy that I like to have for our clients to embrace or to work with or to connect.
Mhm. Mhm. Mm. I love all of your work. So, one of my questions was, what is the piece that you are most proud of? I don't know if you can answer this question because if someone asked me that about my knitting, it would be difficult to decide. But do you have any pieces of jewelry that you love?
Uh, well, in the beginning, when we start working, I did a lot of pieces about inspired in Art Deco and
Mm.
Gustav Klimt,
Mm.
and which is one of my favorite artists. And I did several inspired in that movement and in that aesthetic.
Mhm.
And those were probably the pieces that I'm most proud because they were very easy for me. They are extremely detailed,
Mhm.
but it was very easy for me to do it. And it
Mhm.
was there are pieces that take more time, and I have to think about them, and I sometimes I draw, but
Mm.
these ones were very it was a very organic process. It was very rapid and very natural, and the results were very good. I was very proud because I hadn't. It was in the beginning. I didn't have much experience in working with silver and with the tools and with soldering.
Mhm.
It went well. I will send you some pictures for you to see.
Please, and I can share them here also if you want. Wow. And so also you mentioned to me that you learned how to work with silver like by yourself, just experimenting, or how did you learn how to, or reading books?
Yes, well, in some years ago, we trained a lot with the works with copper,
Mm.
but we basically bought some books. We talked to several artisans with people from the stores where we bought the silver and the tools,
Mhm.
and we just tried, and it went well. We worked practically, basically alone. We didn't have a teacher to, so we did a lot of not very good experiences, but it's just that the way
Yeah, like
our
learning through experience. And I think it's
yeah.
really beautiful that you and your partner decided to do this together, because I think that that really helps, that you can like bounce ideas off each other and like learn from each other as well. So that's really sweet and really nice.
Yeah, when we started, we weren't we were just friends, and then we got involved in a
Mm-hmm.
different way.
Yeah. Ah, that's so beautiful. Um, and so like your process of when you get the stones, no? And then you were telling me before that this stone had been with you for a year or so before you decided like, okay, now it's
Yeah,
time.
almost a year, yes.
Yeah. And so what is this process? So you get the stones and then like you wait until creativity comes and you have an idea of how you want to use it?
Well, it's not always the same, because sometimes I see a stone and I immediately know how I want that stone to be turned a jewel.
Mm-hmm.
But other times I look at the stone and I just liked it, and
Yeah.
I never know, because it can be immediate, and it can take some months, some years.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's very intuitive. It's very natural. We don't do many plans. We
Mm-hmm.
just improvise and well.
Maybe that's why I felt so connected with you, because that is very much how I work with yarn. No, like maybe I will fall in love with a color or a fiber or something, and then I'll just see what happens with it and
Yeah.
let it let it flow. And yeah, and I think that many creative people maybe work in that process. I don't know for everyone, but lots of people I've talked to. So
Yes, because there's a connection that it's established. So um, sometimes not we don't know what how it's going to be developed, but
mm-hmm.
we know there's something there. So we get together with the crystal, or in your case with the color or with the texture, and that's the start.
Mm-hmm.
And then the process will occur.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful. And what else do I want to ask you? I don't know if this is a difficult question as well, but do you have any favorite stone, or do you have a stone that you recently are feeling very attracted to, or maybe you want to talk to us about any specific stone?
Well, it depends. My first love was quartz,
Mm,
and but then I started to work with the other the other crystals, and it 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 has very much to do about um, the place where I am, mentally, physically,
mm-hmm,
the weather, the environment, the circumstances of the world,
mm,
uh, of myself. So for each situation and for each season and for each time of the month, I have different crystals that I like to work with.
mm-hmm,
But I really love quartz, and I really love tourmalines.
mm,
I love very much opals. It's a very dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
and they give me the sense of fantasy and connection too,
Mm-hmm.
but very smoothing and very um, happy
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Mm-hmm. When I was,
Especially the
go ahead, go
sorry,
ahead. No, no, you
especially the Australian opals. They are my favorite. Yeah.
so beautiful. They are iridescent, like we were saying, in the sun. You can see so many different colors in the stone, and if they're wet, like in water, they also have. They're very beautiful.
They are.
I was going to say that I think my first connection with stones was when I was very, very young because my father gave my parents call it an opal, but really it looks very much like a moonstone. Are there opals that look very much like moonstones?
There is something that is called
Mm-hmm.
opalite,
Mm-hmm.
which is, and some people call it moonstone,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not moonstone, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not an opal. It's something made in a laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's that stone that you are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It can be.
Okay. If I sent you a picture, would you be able to recognize maybe, or it's something that you need to, like, I don't, possibly?
Yes, possibly, probably, yeah.
um, because when I was very, very young, my mother, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, my mother had this stone, which my parents still have in New York, but sometimes I wear it. And when I was little, I would be sad when I would go to school and I would miss my mom. So I would wear the necklace. And I felt like if I looked at the stone, I would have my mother with me. And so it was like
Ah,
my lucky charm. And
yeah, so beautiful.
so that stone, and actually I found a picture a few days ago my mother sent me at a party, and I was wearing that stone, and I said, oh, that stone, she has it saved there in New York, but they call it an opal, but to me it looks like a moonstone. So I'm going to send you a picture and maybe you can identify it, just for curiosity.
Yes, it's possible. And well, even if it's not a natural stone,
Mm-hmm,
it's a very symbolic piece,
mm-hmm,
and it has a very strong energy because your mother gave it to you for you to feel safe, and you did.
mm-hmm.
So it's the energetic value is there for
Exactly,
sure.
exactly. Ah, yes. So, and identifying stones for me, like identifying plants is one thing, but identifying stones sometimes maybe I can guess what a stone is, but is that something that you find easier now that you've been working with stones for a long time, or are you still sometimes surprised and you can't identify? How does that work?
Well, it's a matter of how much study you do and the amount of investigation you do. It's the same as plants.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You are always looking at new plants. I not every day, but I see new sounds very often that I don't know what they are, and there are a lot that I will never know what they are
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because I work with several, and I I I I like to work with those because I know what they will work in our body.
mm-hmm,
So I sometimes don't explore
mm-hmm,
the characteristics of new sounds,
mm-hmm,
but yeah, you just study. The more you see, the more you know.
mm-hmm,
You probably in a few months you will know much more crystals than you know today because
mm-hmm.
it's something that you like and it's something that you have interest in.
Mm-hmm. This is fascinating to me because these are all things that I am very interested in. So thank you for sharing. And I was going to ask you, what about like taking care of your stones or even taking care of silver? Like, do you have any recommendations or things that you personally do to take care of your stones? I know like energetically the stones, but then also taking care of the silver. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that for my personal interest and maybe someone else's interest out there.
Well, usually when I work with the stones in me or in with other person, after the work, I clean them.
Mm-hmm.
I clean them with water, and I because there are several stones that kept they take the energy of you
Mm-hmm.
to some things that are not okay, and
Mm-hmm.
they are kept in the stone, and
Mm-hmm.
so we have to clean the stone.
Okay. So
So
just water is enough?
some some I just wash them with water.
Mhm.
Some of them I use water and salt.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did that intuitively the other day with some stones I was sending to a friend, and I said, I'm going to leave these overnight in some salt water. And I thought that might
yeah,
be okay. That's good.
yeah.
Not doing anything bad.
It's like us. Sometimes we it's good for us to have a good bath in the seawater because the salt is good for us. It's good energetically for us.
Absolutely,
It's
because it's like a
it's good.
conductor, no? In some way.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So sometimes I use salt and water, and during the full moon,
Mhm.
I put my favorite crystals and my personal crystals during the night to have the energy of the moon to recharge.
Mhm. Mm.
And
I think that no, next week we are actually a new moon. So
Mhm.
the next full moon we have some time before that. So everyone's got to get their crystals ready to put them under the moon.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the new moon is good for cleaning.
Okay.
You can clean them in the new moon,
Mhm.
and then in the full moon you
Mhm.
will recharge them.
Okay. And what about the care of silver? Like, for example, my stones, which are all with silver. So is that okay to put in salt water, or is there anything special you do for silver care?
I don't do anything in particular to clean the silver. I
Mhm.
use a natural product that I don't know how it's called, but it's something made with baking soda,
Mhm. Oh, okay.
and I just use a brush
Mhm.
when they are
Like a
when
little bit
the
tarnish.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And nothing else because the silver don't keep uh, bad energy.
Mhm. Okay.
It's
Neutral like that.
yeah.
Okay. And something interesting you told me in a message once, I think, is that you typically don't work with black stones. And I wonder, maybe you could tell me about that because I was curious that you don't, unless it's specific for someone or something. Maybe I read that wrong.
No, you read that right.
Okay.
I don't usually work with the black stones because they are for the root chakra, which is under our belly,
Mm-hmm.
and like the pieces that we made are for the neck and for well some I already did some rings with black stones, but
Mm-hmm.
you know our hands are kept, they are not
Lower.
here. It's the only reason.
Oh.
Because sometimes I don't think it's very proper for people to wear something that is for you to connect with the ground, to
Mm-hmm.
root yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's it can be heavy to wear them in your neck. There
Interesting.
are people that know about it
Mm-hmm.
and they wear it for a specific situation or for some work or, but usually I don't do it only if someone asks me, and then I will do it because the person knows what they want to work.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. And other creative endeavors, do you have any other creative things that you do besides jewelry making?
Well, I think I was always creative. I'm creative in mostly everything I do. I like to I like very much decorating my place,
Mm-hmm.
and I change the things around my place very often. I do some decorative pieces like lamps and tables and I don't know. I love glass beads,
Mm-hmm.
and I do several works with glass beads, decorative pieces, and small pieces of jewelry too.
Awesome. Okay, very nice. And what else do I want to ask you? I wanted to ask you more about plants. So, do you have any favorite herbal infusions or favorite plants nowadays? I know just like the crystals, this might change, but any
Yes,
specific that come to mind?
my favorite herb is lavender.
Mm.
Um, I love the color, I love the smell, I love the sense of, and it's something that connects me to my childhood, to my my parents were from my mother side were from Alentejo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place in the interior of Portugal, and there are many species of and subspecies of lavender. And
Mm.
so it's a fragrance that I associate with my happy childhood in that I spent with my grandmother and my grandparents in Alentejo. And
Oh.
it's very calming too, and it's purple. I love purple.
Mm.
Uh, yes, it's my favorite. It's like an ally.
Beautiful. And you say that you love purple, and if I'm not mistaken, the last piece of jewelry that you have updated to your page is a beautiful purple stone ring. Yes? Is it's like a purpley
It's blue. It's the blue
blue?
lace. It's the blue lace agate ring, I think.
Beautiful, but it almost has like a purple hue to it. Yes?
Yes, because it's with the flower. It's very funny you are mentioning this because it's the flower is almost purple.
Mm-hmm.
It's lilac,
Mm-hmm.
and it was my grandmother's favorite flower. So it's
Oh,
very nice. We are mentioning this because I'm talking about Alentejo. When you saw the piece, then it's yeah.
oh, your grandmother. And what was your grandmother's name?
Teresa.
Teresa. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, that ring is absolutely stunning, and I love your ring pieces as well. That is on my list because now I've got two pairs of earrings and my pendant, so I need my
A
ring.
ring, yeah.
Well, I will be thinking about that.
Okay.
Beautiful. And so so if people would want to look at your work, Instagram is probably the best place, or do you have other places? I know that you probably sell a lot locally, right? In Portugal, but
Yes, I sell locally in some places here near me, and Instagram is it's the best place for people to see our work and a bit of our universe, the things that we like and that kept our my attention.
because you do most of the Instagram, right?
Yes, I
Mhm.
do everything in Instagram.
Okay. All right. Nice. And that was another question. So, what is your favorite aspect of the online community? Because I know that we were talking also before we started recording about how our phones sometimes are just very much in our energy and it's just too much. We need to take a break. But maybe we could talk about the positive aspects.
Yes, well, the positive aspects is that we can show our work and we
Mhm.
can meet people that when people are connected, it's very easy to start a conversation, some kind of connection, and it's very good. And people that have similar interests tends to get together easily.
Mhm.
We find each other easily.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
It's like some of us have are with candles and we look at each other and oh, there you are.
mm-hmm. It's amazing. It really is. I think that there are a lot of positive aspects of the online community that far outweigh any of
Mhm.
the negative things.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so tell me.
Especially in this especially in these times
Mm,
when
mm-hmm,
the world is all closed
mm-hmm.
and we are here talking to each other. You are in Spain, I'm in Portugal, and having some tea, talking about stones and
Absolutely. Oh, it's so nice. And so what is your day-to-day look like? Are you like always working with the stones making jewelry? What does your day look like for
well, like I said, we live in the country, so there is always work to do in the
I can imagine.
yeah, and well, we take care of our dogs too. Usually, we work in the outside in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the afternoon we go do the artistic work.
Nice.
We don't travel a lot, but we like to visit some museums and art exhibitions and archaeology exhibitions too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
That's beautiful. And what about music? Do you like listen to music while you're doing artistic things or during the day? Is music part of your life?
Yes, music is a part of my life. Part of my life. I usually don't listen to music when I'm working because I like to be very focused on what I am doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm doing the house tasks, I'm always listening to music, and when I'm changing the furniture, I'm always listening to music, and many times I'm just outside looking at the sky or looking at the bees or the insects or the tree, and I'm listening to music. And I listen to all kinds of music.
Mm-hmm.
My playlists are very different.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like to listen to quiet music, meditation music. I like traditional music from the Andes, for example,
Mhm.
and I like pop music. I like classical music. I like electronic music. It depends.
Additional music from the Andes. That's interesting because that's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, my playlists are
Very eclectic. Yeah.
yeah. It's a bit of everything. I
Hmm.
think sometimes I'm with someone and I'm listening to some kind of music, and a friend tells me, "Are you listening to this music?" And I say, "Yeah,"
Oh.
because it's very different styles and
Hmm. Nice. I also enjoy traditional music from the Andes, and it is very good music for
Mhm.
rearranging the furniture and cleaning the house. I don't know,
Yeah, totally.
energetic music. Very
Yes,
nice.
yes, yeah.
Very nice. All right. Another question I always like to ask is if there are any makers or artists or anyone who has been inspiring you lately that you might want to share with us as a recommendation.
Well, there's I like contemporary modern jewelry,
Mm,
um, and I really like ancient jewelry.
yeah,
But new creators, I have one favorite. It's an American girl. The brand it's Variance Concept.
I don't know. Okay, I will look it up.
Yes, it's very nice, and she does the cutting work of the stones
Hmm.
and the setting too. So it's a very complete work, and it's very I like it very much because it's very natural,
Yeah.
and I like the imperfection
Hmm.
because it's natural like ours.
Yeah, me too. That's I love
Um,
that.
yeah.
Hmm.
And there is another artist that I really like. I think she's Canadian. Her name is all girls is Ring Nicole.
Really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
yeah, and she does beautiful works. It's very different from what I do, but she does um, um, many insects and herbs and shells, and it's an amazing work.
Wow. Okay, I look forward to looking at these.
Yes, you will like it for sure. Both of them, I'm sure.
I'm excited. Very cool. It's always really interesting to branch out in this way, you know? Like
Uh-huh.
we are all with candles looking around for other people doing wonderful
Yeah,
things. So, wow.
these
Awesome.
are my two favorites. I have several,
I'm sure, like all of us, yeah. I'm sure.
and like I told you, I get lost looking at ancient jewelry
Hmm.
from the Egyptians, from the Vikings, from those kinds of pieces are very meaningful for me.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And like looking at them, do you have books? Do you see them in museums? Like what are the sources? Like how I know that like in New York when I go to the Met or a museum, I have been able to see Egyptian pieces, but
Mhm.
I wonder online or where do you go to see these things?
Well, we have several books. We love books, so whenever we can, we buy books about art and about jewelry and about jewelry making. And also we are lucky because in Portugal it's a small country, but we have good exhibitions and good collections in several museums here in Lisbon, which is very near where from the place we live. And every time there is we are always looking for exhibitions of this kind. And every time there is a new exhibition about archaeology or about the ancient jewelry, we go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Portugal is so close to me, but I've only been once. I've only been once to Lisbon, and I definitely would like to go back because I think it's a beautiful country. It's different from Spain, you know, even though we're so close, we're on the same peninsula, but it's a whole nother world. Language, music. Very nice. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been beautiful. I don't know if you want to share maybe what might be on the horizon for Goxi's Garden, or what, I don't know, anything in the future that might be coming up for the both of you and your work.
Well, we don't know what's in the horizon because the world is like this. We had some plans some months ago that didn't work out because it's all closed, and so we will see. We have these interests. We are probably going to explore more pieces without crystals. And but I don't know. It's we'll see. We will keep working because we love to do it. And but it's good for us to improvise, for all of us to have this. It's bad. Everything is closed, but we have to manage.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because it came to my mind a phrase that we have in English, which is like the future is never set in stone. And it means like the future is never like totally certain.
Yeah, now more than ever.
So we got to go with the flow and improvise and enjoy.
Enjoy it. Don't desperate, and keep calm and improvise.
And keep on creating and spending time with the pets and the puppies and the cats or whoever, and the plants.
Nature, yeah.
Yes, I think that this has been such a wonderful conversation. I feel very energized, and I think I'm going to go with my oso, and we're going to go up to the mountain or to the river or somewhere. And
great. I think I'm going to the beach too to give thanks for lots of things.
Oh,
and for being here with you.
Oh, say hello to the Atlantic for me.
I will.
For sure. Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who's here watching, and I will leave all of Isabel's information down below so that you can find her work and be as inspired as I am with what you both are doing. And yeah, so thanks and happy crafting.